All right, let's call this meeting to order. And can we have roll call, please, Mr. Karati?
Sure, Mr. Accomando,
Present.
Ms. Ianello,
Present.
Mr. Laurentino,
Present.
Ms. Mahoney,
Here.
Mr. Quinn,
Here.
Ms. Robinson,
Here.
Ms. Roloff,
Present.
Mr. Shearer,
Present.
Ms. Zattarelli.
Present.
Thank you. Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
To the flag
of
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
for which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under God,
under God,
indivisible,
God,
with liberty and justice
with
for all.
liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right. Okay. Adequate notice of this meeting has been sent to all members of the Board of Education and to the Bergen Record in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, 1975. At this time, please be advised that all cell phones and electronic devices, well, I guess everybody should be on mute. How about that? Okay. Can we have a superintendent's report, please?
Absolutely. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming. I would first like to congratulate Mrs. Mahoney on her role as president this year and Mrs. Roloff on her role as vice president of the Board of Education this year. And I'd also like to give a special thanks to Mr. Quinn, who served us for the year of 2020, the year of the pandemic. I wanted to also just remind everybody that Mr. William Osborne is our new VP at the high school, and he is on board with us now. And if you get an opportunity to see him and say hello and welcome him, I'm sure he would love it. I'd like to give a special birthday shout out to Mr. Ianello. Welcome to the club. I won't tell everybody what club that is. Alpha Best before and after care started yesterday. Registration is open. Things are going well. Both Mr. Karati and I have been touching base with the staff there. And if you would like to register, you can go to our website and click on the Parents tab, and you will see before and after care. And you can register as well as apply for employment opportunities. Unfortunately, I have to make COVID announcements. You will receive notifications from me this evening. Unfortunately, we had 3 COVID positive individuals in the school yesterday, but we found out today. 2 in Smith School, 1 in Franklin School, all of whom had close contacts with other individuals. The principals and nurses are actually contacting families now, and I like to send my letter out once all of the families have been contacted. Unfortunately, due to the orange zone and the increases in restrictions at this time because of the high number of positive cases, siblings of those who are quarantined must also quarantine. So I'm sure parents won't be happy about that. However, we have to protect everyone, and the quarantine lasts for 14 days. So if your children are affected, you will be notified by the principal or the school nurse or maybe the main office secretary. Okay, so good news to announce from Coca-Cola, and that is that our senior, Bianca Ianello, son of the birthday boy and daughter of one of our board members, has been selected as a semifinalist in the 2020-21 Coca-Cola Scholars Program. 2020-2021 Coca-Cola Scholars Program. Only 1,609 semifinalists were chosen out of almost 100,000 applicants, 1.6%. Semifinalists are selected for outstanding leadership, academic achievement, and dedication to their communities. So this is the final, the next phase is actually selecting a regional finalist. So we are all wishing Bianca the very best of luck. The week after the Super Bowl, the PTO has asked me if we would allow the students to dress down as we did last year as part of a fundraiser, excuse me, for the graduating classes in all of the buildings. So pre-K, 6, 8, and 12, with $1 donation per day for the week after Super Bowl for the students. And I said, of course, we would love to do that and help our kids. So that you will hear more about from the PTO. I don't know the parameters of the dress down and what you're wearing. I'm assuming at some point you'll be wearing some sort of sports apparel. I don't know. Okay. I do have to read. I have to report out every year, twice a year, actually. And it is on the agenda, even though it's not an item that that the board needs to vote on. I just have to document in the superintendent's report the summary of the violence, vandalism, substance abuse, and HIB incidents for the 2021 report period, which is from July 1 of 2020 through December 31st of 2020. And I'm really grateful that it's been a relatively quiet year. We have had one incident of vaping, one incident of a student who was under the influence of a substance, and one HIB investigation that turned out to be a non-HIB. And that was those were our events for the entire 6-month period. There is something to be said about being on a remote schedule. Students just seem to be a little bit better behaved. So that is the end of that report. And then I would like to share with you good news from each of our buildings. Washington's first PTO apparel sale was a great success. PTO and staff worked together to approve a logo and promote the sale to the student body and families, and classes have started their clothing study. And for those of you who know how awesome this is, you've seen the clothing unit that culminates in an amazing preschool fashion show. It was like the highlight of my year last year. Mrs. Hadnot is also hosting a parent workshop on Monday, January 25th on the basic principles of behavior for parents of our ABA students. This is a great resource and opportunity for the parents. And Miss Gina's class has been doing such a great job during group social skills lessons and meets, as we have been using video modeling during virtual lessons, as well as interactive game boom learning cards to review the ABA programs. They have fun during playtime as they build blocks, play with Play-Doh, and do Mr. Potato Head on the screen together. The ABA programs are up and running with the district's new Catalyst data collection system and have been successfully taking data on programs during virtual days and in person. Compared to last year, we've received an increased number of early interventions and parent referrals into our preschool programs for the 2021 school year, which is excellent news. Many of the families came in sharing the great things they've heard about our preschool programs and the district as a whole, which is one of the reasons why they decided to place their children with us. It speaks volumes about the unique programs that we have and effective programs that we have here in Saddlebrook. Franklin School had a wonderful holiday sing-along for all of its students, thanks to our music teacher, Mrs. Schwartz, and the ability to use the district's Zoom account. 6th grade students have resumed making the morning announcements each day by recording the message on Screencastify. Mrs. Cohen and Mrs. Burns then post the announcements in the Google Classroom for everyone to listen to together as a class. 6th graders are also resurrecting the beloved bedtime stories that began last spring during the school closure. A 6th grader will select a story to read aloud and record on Screencastify. Mrs. Dunn, our reading specialist, will then post the story on the homeroom teacher's Google Classroom each Friday night for our school community to enjoy. In December, all of our classes had a visit from Olaf, who distributed books to each student that were purchased by the PTO funds. Long Memorial School would like to thank their PTO for the purchases of classroom carts to assist with live instruction. The PTO shifted their annual holiday boutique to a virtual shopping event in December, and our 6th grade parents have begun to have planning meetings for the 6th grade activities. Long Memorial School teachers are reporting what great pride they have in their students' dedicated efforts while learning primarily online in December. We're especially proud of our kindergartners who manage the computer, follow multi-step directions, and connect with the teachers and friends through the devices. The kindergartners are excited to be authors and are finishing up their narrative writing. Also, we have readers. We are so proud of them and their resilience. Teachers in grade 1 have shared how helpful the student whiteboard donations from the SBEF have been as a tool for teaching and learning while remote. Actually, all of the schools have said that. In addition, first graders have been researching using All About Penguins books and using nonfiction text features to enhance their own writing. Our terrific third graders are getting ready to publish their Winter in New York City fictional narratives. They also showcase their artistic abilities to create an accompanying snow globe art project with elements of our story setting New York City in the winter. To wrap up our weather unit in science, each student is pretending to be a meteorologist, and their job is to make weather predictions, report on storm conditions, and prepare their listeners with ways to stay safe in a storm. Second graders have been busy with nonfiction research projects using San Diego Zoo Kids website. They're preparing presentations that they will share with their peers. In math, they're working on subtracting 2-digit numbers with regrouping. Grade 4 is preparing to present their how-to project soon through writing and class presentations. Our 4th graders have been impressed this year in their character studies related to Reader's Workshop. They're tackling long division and have not let remote learning stop them. In grade 5 at Long Memorial School, preparations are underway for the annual Wax Museum project, and in math, they're working on models when multiplying fractions. Mrs. Yeaglewell has shared that the 6th graders have been rocking their literature responses. Their growth has been tremendous, and they should be extremely proud of their efforts. Art students in Ms. Viscardi's class are having a great time sharing their completed artwork on their art critique celebration days. All students have their moment to shine by holding up their artwork and share what they love most about their beautiful creations. Mrs. Viscardi is amazed at how wonderfully the students are doing and is so proud of them. Plus, we're receiving lots of positive feedback from parents regarding live instruction in physical education. At Smith, our 6th graders have started meeting their mentors and learning about what it's like to be a student at the middle and high school. They're learning about schedules, different clubs, how to use a locker, and more. Our 5th graders have recently been learning about atoms and scientific elements and have created their names using the elements. The 4th graders at Smith School have been completing a diversity reading challenge. Students are encouraged to read inclusive books by a variety of authors with new titles. As they complete a book, they color their train and share book titles, authors, and summaries. They have been spending 60 days reading about different holidays, book authors of different races, books with awards, etc. Students will be recognized on Tuesday next week with a Swiss Miss Hot Chocolate STEM Award. We're extremely proud of all the efforts of our students while working virtually at Smith, especially our kindergartners who have really impressed us with all of their hard work and ability to work virtually. Finally, we're excited about some upcoming events that our PTO is planning. Stay tuned for the Masked Reader. Middle and high school. Saddlebrook Middle School 8th grade, physical science classes were selected to receive a STEM grant from the Hess Corporation. Our school will receive 12 2020 Hess trucks, ambulance and rescue vehicle, and the related curriculum materials. The curriculum includes hands-on and virtual activities to explore potential and kinetic energy, velocity incline relationships, force, and Newton's laws of motion. 27 of the middle high school students have signed up to help out in their community when different needs arise. Yard cleanup, snow removal, etc. And we're very proud of them for stepping up. The middle school and high school band and choir were still able to put on their holiday concert. And we'll be posting a link to that concert on the website. And we also have some incredible college acceptances, the images for which I will put on the Facebook page and on the website. But some of the very impressive colleges that our students have been accepted to include Duke, East Stroudsburg University, Arizona State, Rowan, Stonehill, Coastal Carolina, New Jersey City University, Massachusetts College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences, University of Rhode Island, Rutgers, Seton Hall, Alabama, Kane, Susquehanna, Franklin Pierce, New York Institute of Technology, University of New Haven, University of Maine, the United States Marine Corps, Culinary Institute of America, High Point University, Rider's University, St. Peter's Prep, University of Charleston, Johnson and Wales University, Youngstown State University, the University of Dayton, Colby Sawyer College, Temple, Stockton, Fordham, University of Delaware, Monmouth, Siena, Penn College of Technology, which is a Penn State affiliate, Kent State, the College of St. Rose, Marist, University of Tampa, University of Bridgeport, NJIT, Monmouth, Montclair, main campus of Penn State, West Virginia University, Centenary, University of Dayton. And those are just some of the college acceptances that our students have received, and we're really excited for them. In athletics, we'd like to offer our congratulations to senior Brook Wieland on being selected to the New Jersey Cheer and Dance Coaches Association All-State Team for the 2020-2021 season. We are so very proud of you. And the last thing I have to read to you tonight is a proclamation. January in New Jersey is School Board Recognition Month. And so I would like to read this proclamation for the board and from the board. Whereas New Jersey School Boards Association has declared January 2021 to be School Board Recognition Month, a time when all residents can acknowledge the contributions made by our local school board members. And whereas the Saddlebrook Board of Education is one of 580 local school boards in New Jersey, which sets policies and oversees operations for public school districts. And whereas the Saddlebrook Board of Education embraces the goal of high quality education for all New Jersey public school students. And whereas New Jersey's local school boards help to determine the educational goals for approximately 1.4 million children in pre-K through 12th grade. And whereas New Jersey's 5,000 local school board members who receive no remuneration for their services act as advocates for public school students as they work with administrators, teachers, and parents for the betterment of public education. And whereas school boards strive to provide the resources necessary to meet the needs of all students, including those with special needs. And whereas school boards of education provide accountability to the public, they communicate the needs of the school district to the public, and they convey to school administrators the public's expectations for the schools. And whereas New Jersey can take pride in its schools, which rank among the nation's best in key achievement indicators, such as the National Assessment of Educational Progress scores and the preparation for college through advanced placement offerings and SAT assessments. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Saddlebrook Board of Education does hereby recognize the services of local school board members throughout New Jersey as we join communities statewide in observing January 2021 as School Board Recognition Month, and be it further resolved that the Saddlebrook Board of Education urges all New Jersey citizens to work with their local school boards of education and public school staff towards the advancement of our children's education. I thank all of our board members here, present and past, for their dedication and your hard work. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Shanley. And thank you all of our board members and all of the work that we do. And if anyone else is interested in being a school board member, I encourage you to think about that in the future. Okay,
If I could add one more thing, Kelly, sorry.
of course.
So today was a wonderful day in history. It's always a wonderful day when you get to see a new president and vice president inaugurated into office. And ironically, it coincides with the recognition of the school board tonight. I realize that school board members, not unlike politicians, don't always see eye to eye on things. But when both the school board comes together to focus on what's most important, which is the children, and the nation comes together to focus on what's most important, which is the advancement of its citizens. If we all stay focused on what's important, it should be a win-win for all. And today, our young women across the nation got to see our very first female vice president inaugurated, as well as our first female woman of color inaugurated. And I just think it's a wonderful image for young girls and people of color to see. And I hope that this country manages to come together and rally to do what's best for the nation. And I wish them and all of us the very best in 2021. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, I think we are up to you, Mr. Karati, for the business administrator's report.
Yes, thank you. I really don't like following Ms. Shanley's good news.
I'm
report.
sorry.
There's not a lot of good news with the business office, but I'll be quick. Two major items in my job responsibilities are the annual audit and the school budget. And like everything else in 2020, they're coming to a perfect storm and coming together at the same time. So our audit is starting this week, and we're underway with the budget. So I'll take any prayers I can get. That concludes my report. I'll update some items in the finance section when we get there. But thank you.
All right,
And
thank you so much.
And I do thank all the board members, past and current and any future ones. It's a thankless job, many times, but you got to remember you're doing all good for the students in the school community. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Karati. All right, at this time, can I have a motion to open the meeting for public comment?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. Okay, if anyone would like to speak tonight, this is for agenda items only. So only things that are on that paper. If you would like to speak tonight on that, you can please go to participants and click the raise hand, and that will indicate that you would like to speak tonight. Okay. Do we have anyone who would like to speak on agenda items?
I'm not seeing any.
Okay.
Yep, there's
Give them
none.
another couple seconds just in case. All right, seeing none at this time, can I have a motion to close the meeting for public comment on agenda items?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, then I get to hold off on reading the statement until later. Okay, at this time, and we'll go through the agenda items. So we will start with the board action items. And I'd like to, at the recommendation of the superintendent, make a motion to approve the following: B113 through B116. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion on the board action items?
Ms. Mahoney,
Yes,
for the record, B116 is a non-HIB.
thank you. Okay, no discussion? Then can we have roll call, Mr. Karati?
Yes, tonight we'll start with Ms. Ionello,
Yes.
Mr. Laurentino,
Yes.
Mr. Quinn,
Was that me?
Yep.
Yes.
Ms. Robinson,
Yes.
Ms. Roloff,
Yes.
Mr. Shearer,
Yes to all, but I need to abstain from B113.
okay. Ms. Otterelli,
Yes.
Mr. Accomando,
Yes.
Ms. Mahoney.
Yes. Okay, Ms. Roloff, you're up on education and curriculum.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for making me the vice president this year. I'm honored. And I hope I serve you well. We'll see. Let me know. I'm sure you will. At the recommendation of the superintendent, I make a motion to approve the following items. E104 through E105. Do I have a motion?
Okay, do we have any discussion or questions? Okay, roll call, please.
Ms. Ionello,
Yes.
Mr. Laurentino,
Yes.
Mr. Quinn,
Yes.
Ms. Robinson,
Yes.
Ms. Roloff,
Yes.
Mr. Shearer,
Yes.
Ms. Otterelli,
Yes.
Mr. Accomando,
Yes.
Ms. Mahoney.
Yes. Okay, Mr.
Okay, I guess she froze.
Quinn, finance, budget, and facilities, please.
At the recommendation of the
Oh, did
superintendent,
I? Sorry.
I make a motion to approve the following items: F374 through F381. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Before we go on to discussion and questions, on F381, I would just like to thank the Loy family, and I hope I pronounced that right. It's L-U-Y, for their extremely generous donation for the Long School. It will go a long way and be used very well for the students there. So thank you very much.
And also, before we take the vote on item, 379, 379, we received additional monies with the coronavirus relief funds, another 10,000, which is great to hear. And number 380, a couple years ago, we received a gift from a former board member, John Brody. He left actually, I think it was 5 institutions, 2 in Saddlebrook, or the Board of Ed and the Little League. $218,500, and we've been purchasing stuff for the high school, general education items, athletic items that we just can't afford in the budget. It's been a great help. These are 3 more items. With these 3 items, we'll be up to have spent about 179,000 of the 218, with a few more items to go. And when we finalize that, I'll give a complete list. But this is it's been, they've been great that we were able to get these items. And, if anybody knows the Brody family or could send our thanks, just wanted everybody to know that. That's it.
All right, thank you. Any other discussion or questions?
If I may, I have just one quick question in regards to the 380. Is any of the monies used for athletics this time around?
No,
No? Okay.
this stuff's all for the music chorus department.
Okay. Thank
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, let's go to roll call, please.
Hey, Ms. Ionello,
Yes, but I'm going to exempt on F374, check numbers 5700, check number 6008, check number 6337, check number 6666.
Ooh,
Yeah, I know.
That's a number.
Okay, Mr.
And
Laurentino?
also, in F377 for the professional workshops, I would like to abstain from numbers or item numbers 37 through 41.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Lawrence?
And yes to everything else.
Okay. Mr. Laurentino?
I'm going to say yes to all, except in F374. I'm going to abstain from checks number 5737, 6046, 6378, 6379, and 6704.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Quinn?
I'll make it easy. Yes to all.
Ms. Robinson?
Yes.
Ms. Roloff?
Yes, I didn't get my check.
Mr. Shearer?
Yes.
Ms. Otterelli?
Yes to all except for F377 ID number 36 and 37. I'm abstaining.
Okay, Mr. Accomando?
Yes.
Ms. Mahoney?
Yes. Okay, Mr. Laurentino, policy, please.
At the recommendation of the superintendent, I make a motion to approve the following items. P1581 through P1648.02. Do I get a motion?
Second?
Second?
Okay,
Yes.
all right. Do we have any questions or discussion on any of these policies? Okay, then let's go, Mr. Karati.
Ms. Einello?
Yes.
Mr. Laurentino?
Yes.
Mr. Quinn?
Yes.
Ms. Robinson?
Yes.
Ms. Roloff?
Yes.
Mr. Shearer?
Yes.
Ms. Otterelli?
I'm abstaining from all.
Mr. Accomando?
I didn't get a chance to read all of them, so should I just abstain or vote no to certain one? I'll abstain. Please.
Ms. Mahoney?
Yes. Okay, Mrs. Otterelli, do we have anything on negotiations to chat about?
No, we're having a meeting tomorrow, but other than that, nothing to really report.
Okay, thank you very much. And finally, Mr. Accomando, would you like to do personnel?
At the recommendation of the superintendent, I'd like the motion to approve items, sorry, I'm doing it on my phone. P417 to P884.
Second?
Okay, any questions or discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Ms. Einello?
Yes to all, but I'm going to abstain from P826.
Mr. Laurentino?
Yes to all.
Mr. Quinn?
Yes.
Ms. Robinson?
Yes.
Ms. Roloff?
Yes.
Mr. Shearer?
Yes.
Ms. Otterelli?
Yes.
Mr. Accomando?
Yes.
Ms. Mahoney?
Yes.
Kelly, you're frozen.
Reminder for the board members. I don't know if I froze there. You guys looked all frozen there. Just a reminder for the board members, there is a Bergen County School Boards meeting next week that you can, if you haven't registered, you can register for. I'm sure Mr. Karati would help us out if you would like to go. It is virtual, so it's just online on, I believe it is Monday, the 25th. Okay,
Yeah, if you want to just
Yeah.
email me, I know I got 1 or 2 emails. I'll just do a mass registration, but just send me an email tonight or tomorrow.
okay.
Through the chair, Ray, I already registered on my own.
Yeah.
So, okay. Do you
for the
get a
board-
list of who did? Like, do you
Yeah,
know?
when I go in there and you know who I want to register, whoever told me, it shows who registered already. Just for the board members' information, just the only one you can't register for by yourself is the mandated training.
Okay.
Any other
Okay.
county meetings or stuff, you could just tell me, or you could do it yourself. But the mandated one, you're not allowed. I don't know why you're not allowed to, but you're not.
Okay,
All right.
thanks.
Thank you. Do we have any correspondence?
No.
Old business, new business?
New business, through the chair, if I could, somebody wanted me to ask a question in reference to, I guess, kids going back. Are they going to be able to go back, or how do they, that's the question. For the remote, the kids that are remote, can they go back now, or is it too late? They got to wait, or?
Well, it's not so much that it's too late. It's that right now, the transmission rates and the positive rates of COVID are so high. Like the first 2 weeks in January were 20% higher than the 2 weeks prior. So we discussed this at the January, at the reorg, and you know, we're not going to rush to send kids back when the numbers are up. So like right now, for example, we have, I think about 18 total positive cases, you know, active cases within the district. So I wasn't looking to bring more students back to the classroom. Maybe we'll wait another week and take a look at whether or not we can bring back more virtual students to the blue and gold groups. I did have some parents email me and I did respond to them asking, were our kids going to be able to come 4 days a week yet? You know, most of the districts in the surrounding areas are not even open. So in order to bring students back to a full-size classroom, you know, they won't be 6 feet apart. So then we would have to, as a board, agree to come to the understanding that, sure, we'll bring them back 4 days a week, but they won't be 6 feet apart. So I just wasn't ready to make that, you know, make that call yet with the rates being so high.
Through the chair, if we ever get to maybe thinking about that, could we maybe send a survey home and see how the parents feel about it? If we have 1,700 students in district and 1,500 are okay with it.
Well, we could, except right now the guidance from the state hasn't changed. So I'm supposed to be following the state guidance. So in some cases, you know, and this is what I explained to one mom, in some classes we have 24 students. So to put 24 students in a class, you're looking at 3 feet of distance for an airborne virus, which we don't have clearance to do. So maybe some districts have kids going back full time because their percentage rates of children who are on virtual is higher than ours. So if you remove, you know, 40% of your kids from the classroom to go purely virtual, and you only have to fit 60% of the class in the room, then you might be able to do it. Our virtual numbers are not that high. So my next step would be to bring back more virtual students, because I do believe there is, you know, there is a desire for the virtual kids to start coming back. And then, you know, hoping that with rates going down and vaccinations going up, you know, and as we move into maybe a little bit warmer weather, you know, we might be able to get everybody back in the classroom.
Which kids come back? Like a group or color?
How do I decide which kids come back? Well, we want to bring the virtual kids back, you know, because obviously we believe that what research has told us is that any interaction they can have with their peers and their teachers live and in person is good and healthy for them. So we'd want to bring as many virtual kids back as we could on the blue and gold days and see how that goes. We've been really fortunate. We have been very careful, and we've been very fortunate up till now. We've never had this number of cases, and I just believe it's really a carryover from the holidays. Because it's only January 20th. So I think what we're dealing with is a little, carryover from the holidays and people getting it from siblings and in families. And I'm hearing a lot of the grandfather had it and the parents had it. Now the kids have it, like a family trickle, which I'm hoping will end, come February if people follow quarantine guidelines. But, we had our, basketball team back just a couple of days, and that got shut down. So it's just very contagious. And as soon as you put a lot of kids together, you have to worry. Mm-hmm. So, but of course I'm open, to hear what the board thinks. Or if you think there's another district, I do hear people say a lot of times, well, this district does this and this district does that. I do know that, we've been very fortunate. We opened beginning of September. We've had 2 school shutdowns because of COVID. And then this week at Washington, it's not because of COVID, it's because people have had to quarantine because of close contact. Too many adults were out of the building to keep the children safe. So I couldn't run Washington this week. But we've been very fortunate. Other schools have opened for a day and shut down again. Mm-hmm. I think we're doing relatively well. It's not ideal. This situation is not an ideal situation. We're trying to make the best of a terribly unideal situation. But I think, we've been relatively healthy thus far. And I'm hoping the immunization rollout will improve and more people will have a first round and feel a little bit better soon, but I don't want to push it. I know that our teachers are very nervous. I really do not want teachers to have to worry. They're already worried. I'm sure you'll hear some of that tonight. They're already worried. And I worry too, that if you pack, too many kids in a class, I will have too many teachers down. And too many teachers down means no school. So.
Through the chair, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Along those lines, have we received any guidance yet on what the quarantine is going to be for staff that does choose to get the vaccine?
We haven't. We haven't. So a first round, to me, it's my understanding, is not a full protection. It's some protection. So the quarantine in my mind would still be the same because you still could acquire the virus. I'm sorry. Nobody's gotten a second round yet. And then that takes 2 weeks apparently to process, much like the flu shot. And then I've heard, and I'm no immunologist, but I'm trying to read up on as much as I can, I'm sure like many of you, that even if you've had the vaccine, that although you may not get it, you could still spread it. So I think that's why nobody's put the cart before the horse and started talking about where we're going to be after more and more people are immunized. I would just highly encourage, people to get immunized because then you have peace of mind. I mean, having had COVID for whatever amount of time, I have some antibodies. I feel like slightly protected, a little less nervous because I've had it. If I could get that feeling with an immunization, it's a good feeling to know you have antibodies. So I wish I had an answer for you, Mr. Laurentino. That's just kind of where we are.
No, thank you. I was just curious to see where we're at.
Mhm.
Because right now there is a lot of unfortunate unknowns, and I think we're doing the best job we possibly.
We're trying.
Thank you. I think that Mrs. Iannello, you have a PTO report and I went too fast. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Yes, I do. All right. Hello, everyone. I just want to mention, well, actually, it's a little bit of a lengthy report. On Monday, January 25th, we will have the PTO will have their next meeting, and at 7 o'clock, Mr. Meisch has emailed out the link, and I'm sure he will do that again for those who want to come. I would encourage you to come because Mr. Osborne Osborne will be coming to the meeting, which is our new high school vice principal. So you'll be able to meet him. He can introduce himself. The second thing I want to mention is that the senior parents have created a committee to recognize the class of 2021. So any senior parents who would like to participate can join the SBHS Care of Class 2021 Facebook page or the Slack app. Okay, information in regards to this committee was emailed out to senior parents on Tuesday, January 19th by Mr. Meisch. Thank you, Mr. Meisch, for doing that. So if anyone would like to make a donation to the senior class, you can contact Vicki Torvik. You could message her on Facebook. Checks can be made out to SBMS HSPTO Care of 2021. That's a mouthful. Senior parents can also opt out their child if they do not want their child to participate in this. All of the information is in Mr. Meisch's email, or you can contact Jennifer Ween at gmail.com. Okay, and I just want to make sure to mention again that this is being done by the senior parents. So this is not a Board of Ed or the district. This is the senior parents for this graduating class that are doing this. And I want to thank them very much for taking the time to do this. As a parent of a senior, I really appreciate everyone who's put this together and looking at what's going on. There's a lot of work being put in. So I thank you very much. And that's it.
All right, thank you. Anybody else have a report of any kind that I went too fast? Okay, then I believe it is time to open the meeting for public comment. So again, if you would like to speak at this time, and this time the comments could be about, anything. All right, I see a hand raised, so let me read actually, can I get a motion? Thank you.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, so now give me 1 second. All right, residents are requested to state their names, addresses, and subject matter. In the event it appears the public comment portion of the meeting may exceed 45 minutes, the presiding officer may limit each statement made by a participant to 5 minutes duration. Issues raised by members of the public may or may not be responded to by the board. All comments will be considered and a response will be forthcoming if and when appropriate. The board asks that members of the public be courteous and mindful of the rights of other individuals when speaking. Specifically, comments regarding students and employees of the board are discouraged and will not be responded to by the board. Students and employees have specific legal rights afforded by the laws of New Jersey. The board bears no responsibility, nor will it be liable for any comments made by members of the public. Members of the public should consider their comments in light of the legal rights of those affected or identified in their comments, and be aware that they are legally responsible and liable for their comments. Okay, Mr. Karate, who do we have first?
Okay, first we have Jennifer Ween.
Hi, everybody. I have a couple of unrelated questions. So the first one, just hearing what you said about not bringing them back 4 days a week yet. What about keeping the 2 days that they're there and making them full days? That's just a thought. They're already eating in the classrooms. They're having snack in the elementary schools. So you're not changing their schedule. I don't know. It's just something that I was just thinking about. Do you want me to answer my other question first? Okay. So my other question is, have we started to think about end of the year events for the seniors? Prom, our class has raised an exceptional amount of money. And rumor has it that that money, if there's no prom, just rolls over to the next grade. And I really don't think that that's fair, because our kids probably have $15,000 to $20,000 already. Miss Miller was an exceptional class advisor before she left, and they've raised so much money. So I'm wondering if there's been any thought put into like possibly moving it to an outside location. Coronation happened in August and it went off beautifully for the 8th graders. The town runs that. I know it's not by the schools, but you know, our kids are kind of feeling forgotten, which is why this committee was really started. You know, not only did they miss the same months that the seniors did last year, but they've missed most of their senior year. So that's why the group of parents got together and started doing what we're doing, but it really feels a lot. And they've expressed this, they feel like they've been forgotten by the district. So I'm just kind of putting that out there. I know it's January and I know that stuff is in June, but some of those plans take a while to change. So.
Okay, well, I will speak to Mr. Meisch and your class advisors, and they are the people who plan the senior events. The only reason I mean, I'm involved in graduation, but I'm certainly not involved in planning any of the other events, but I will speak to them. I mean, you have 2 wonderful advisors. As a matter of fact, your advisors are the same advisors who planned for last year, and they rolled up and stayed with the seniors again this year because they have experience and they saw everything that we did and know what it takes. So I'm quite certain that there are plans in place. I don't know officially what they all are.
You know, my daughter's good friends with at least one of the officers for the senior class, and they don't feel like they're being heard. So maybe that conversation does need to occur. You know, they've just expressed this. You know.
Right. I would start with Mr. Meisch. I mean, I don't know if you've spoken to him or shared with him what you just shared with us.
It's not really my place to share. The kids are feeling that way. So I'll encourage them to do that.
I would encourage them to do that as well, but I will also follow up.
Okay.
And as far as the scheduling change, I'm not sure what you mean. Do you mean a full day that includes lunch?
Yeah.
No, that won't happen for some time. We can't have all of the kids in the cafeteria. You know, we're feeding lunch to the entire school then.
Right. The kids that are there in at least the elementary schools are eating in the classroom already.
Yes, but they're eating in an individual classroom that maybe has 8 to 10 kids in it. They're not eating in a cafeteria. So at this point, you know, full days are probably not going to happen. What could potentially happen, and I don't know, I'd need to speak with my scheduling committee and with the administration there, is to see if, you know, we had a lot of conversation about the value of a block of time, a 40-minute block of time versus a 45-minute block of time versus a 26-minute block of time. You know, to squeeze an 8-period day into a single session, or is it better to have the 4 periods? We've talked back and forth. When we asked the teachers at the time when we were doing the planning, they wanted the block because they didn't think they could accomplish much in 26 minutes. But we could revisit it. So I will talk to them again. Thank you.
Obviously, we just want our kids, especially being as my children are both finishing their last year at each school, you know, they want to be there as much as they can be. I get it. I know this all is terrible, but
terrible. And I understand exactly what you're saying. And it's terrible. And we're trying to do the best we can, but I will revisit it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have Matt Martinez.
Hey, everybody. Good evening. Thank you. Matt Martinez, Long Memorial School, 6th grade, science, social studies, and math, SBEA president. So I appreciate everybody, you know, your time, board members. Thank you. I wanted to make sure, you know, we often find ourselves in contention. I don't view it that way. I thank each and every one of you. I know, as Mr. Karate said, this can be viewed as like a thankless position, but you have my thanks and my sincere, you know, for your service. So I really appreciate it. I did want to ask tonight regarding, and I know Mrs. Shanley had spoken to you about this, the extension of the FFCRA. So I'm going to ask that the board extend the FFCRA through March of this year. To be very clear to everyone involved, this is voluntary and the board would have to opt into it. It is no longer mandated by the federal government. But it is something that is much needed by the members of not only our association, but the rest of the staff of this district. So the Federal Families First Corona Relief Association or Act, excuse me, days provide a pressure relief valve to the finite amount of sick time, which if unused can accumulate across a staff member's career. Our younger and newer employees may not have enough time to get through what could very well be a year peppered with quarantines, not to mention any sick days they may need to take for their own sake. Though it may seem frivolous or unimportant to those outside of the profession, using sick days at a rate that this year promises is a loss felt by our staff. We earn these sick days. We can negotiate for them when we're hired or change districts. They're there for us if serious illness should strike and significant time needs to be taken off. It is not right to have to deplete them or even start leaning on them so early while there are other options available to us. It is a definite loss. Since we can't in most cases work home, and none of us signed up to work during a pandemic, right? We've all said that many times. We've still not moved into a place where we can get vaccinated or been told when we're going to get vaccinated, though we're hopeful that this is soon. It would be greatly appreciated if the board would voluntarily opt into the continuation allowed under the FFCRA through March of this year. As one sort of clarifying question, I asked that any hardships incurred, financial or otherwise, by the board beyond an employee's use of sick time be explained to us so that we can understand why we wouldn't be opting back into this. That's to say, what is the functional difference to the board for us using sick time versus us using the FFCRA, other than one of our sick days disappearing, or in this case, multiple of them? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Martinez.
would-
Okay.
Can I just say something,
Do
Mrs.?
we have any? Oh, sorry. Of course.
I just wanted to let the public know that anytime a teacher is placed on quarantine for a work-related contact, they're not required to use their time. I just want to make sure that everybody understands that, because sometimes we talk about things that we make assumptions that other people know. And at this point, there hasn't been anybody who has come even remotely close to exhausting any of their sick time for a required quarantine. And as I explained to Mr. Martinez, that should that be the case, then I would be speaking to the board about the needs of that individual. So.
Okay, thank you. Did anyone else wish to speak tonight?
I do have, well, Matt Martinez again.
Hi. Yeah, sorry. I just wanted to clarify. I appreciate your clarification, Mrs. Shanley. So one, how will that be handled if there is a quarantine that happens based on a staff member either contracting or being exposed to this at school? Two, what sort of ways are we going to be able to prove that, right? For example, if I came down with it, how could we prove that I got it at school? And three, again, I can't really stress this part enough. It's not so much about exhausting. I personally have 60-something sick days. I will not use 60-something sick days this year, but I plan on spending a long time in teaching. And God forbid I come down with some disease in the future or some illness, as we all know can happen. Those are things that, as I said, it is a definite loss to be used. And while we have the FFCRA here available only through March 31st, I'm asking for a clarification if there's a reason why the board would opt not to do it, or if there is some hardship that they're incurring that I'm honestly not seeing. Because as my understanding, my daily wage is my daily wage, and whether it's being paid and a sick time is being taken off, or the FFCRA day for the extenuating circumstances of the pandemic are being used. So thank you.
Thank you.
I don't see any other hands up.
All right, we'll give it another second or two. Yep. Sarah?
Yeah, one more, Sarah.
Hi, I just have I'm just a little confused with the FCCRA myself. So we just got a letter that some kids have to quarantine, the classes have to quarantine. So now those teachers have to stay home. They have to use FCCRA?
No. So if they're being placed on quarantine by the school district, it's identified as an other day. It's not a sick day.
Okay. And so then if someone gets exposed and they can't prove it didn't happen at school or did happen at school, there's no FCCRA in Saddlebrook for them to use?
The FCCRA ended December 31st.
Right. So that's what I was just clarifying. I understand it ended. So the board is not going to give the teachers the benefit or any staff member, the FCCRA.
No, at this point, we have to apply for it.
So you're going to choose not to.
At this point, we have not decided
Okay.
to apply for it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Anybody else wishing to speak to the board at this moment? I don't see any more hands up.
All right. Oh,
Oh, wait. Elaine De Palma?
Okay, I think, did I unmute?
yes.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I think that the major stress is, a lot of us are really good. Like I'm one of them. I don't go out. My whole family's quarantining. What if an asymptomatic child happens to pass it on to me from a household that was quarantining? We were unaware of it. How am I going to prove that I got it from school? So most likely that's where I'm going to get it from, because I'm the only one that's still going to work, coming home. I'm getting my groceries delivered to me, but I can't prove it that it came from school because say it's not a child, a classroom that's quarantining. So I think that's why we really want this to, go forward. We want the act to continue because I'm not going to be able to prove it that it came from school, but I got sick and I know that I'm following all the rules because I'm not going anywhere. And there's a lot of other people that may be in the same position. That's it.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Emily Sycamatellis?
Hi, I just have sort of piggybacking on what you guys are talking about. When a teacher is quarantined, though, not by the school, the children are the ones that are losing out on live instruction, correct? Because they're not able to live stream from home?
Well, it depends on the situation. Every situation is different. It depends on whether or not somebody's sick. Each situation is different. It depends on what they do. It depends on who their students are. It depends on if a sub can cover. I mean, there are a lot of factors.
But do we have a plan in place to have subs covering? Because if someone comes, I'm just trying to understand it all, right? So if someone comes into contact, they have to quarantine, but they're asymptomatic, they're not feeling sick. Are they allowed to stream from home? Only because it's exactly what happened today with my son's class. Yesterday, the teacher knew that he had to be quarantined, and my son's class had no live instruction. There was no sub. So,
well, we're having a difficult time getting subs. Like I said, I don't know the situation with your son or that classroom or that teacher, off the top of my head, it wasn't brought to my attention. So I don't know the exact circumstance there. If we allowed every teacher who told us that they needed to quarantine to teach from home, we would have a lot of classrooms without human bodies in them, and we could never cover them because we can't even combine classrooms. So let's say, a second grade teacher says she needs to quarantine for 2 weeks. I can't even combine the second grade teacher's class or half of her class with the kids across the hall for a day or two or a week, or I can't do any of that. And even our subs, we have 1 or 2 floater subs in each building that are what we call building-based subs. They're there every day. We did this for this year to use as we need them. They're spoken for every single day. And now it's at the point that they've become part of our faculty. And now I have building-based subs on quarantine. So if you have, too many people out on quarantine, it becomes very difficult to cover. So that is why we haven't allowed them to teach from home, because I cannot cover people who need to quarantine. I can't cover it. It would shut down the building.
Okay, if I may just, I'm sorry, I'm just thinking out loud because I wasn't didn't expect to ask this, but would the district be able to then just set some kind of plan for remedial work or just a review or a catch-up program for all the instruction that's being missed? I mean, I know it's too soon to see what next year might look like, but are we putting something
Well, I think,
in place?
you know, I've talked about this a lot with our team and with superintendents across the county. And I don't think that there is a child in a single district or a curriculum in a single classroom that's going to see a culmination in June as they have in years past. And I don't think that we are unlike any other district. I think every second grade classroom is behind. I don't think that they're behind the kids in the next district. I think we're just all trying to get to the core of what the kids need to know that is essential, and doing the very best we can. I don't think that we're unique. I mean, I share these questions and concerns with other superintendents and other administrators all the time. Everybody is, and you, I don't know if you were on before when I read the good news, there's a lot of great academic work that is going on. And at times teachers have to post a lesson. You know, there's nothing we can really do about that. We're doing the very best we can to provide live streaming instruction as often as possible. We're now doing live streaming 4 days a week and only 1 day of asynchronous. So we're doing, you know, what we can, and the schools are still open. It's not ideal.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we have Matt Martinez again.
I just respectfully wanted to ask one more time, and I don't know if this is going to come after the spoken portion, but while I'm still allowed to speak, if anyone could clarify, since we now know we're not going to be reapplying for it, if the clarification for the reason behind that, if it's an application process that's challenging or incurs a hardship. I mean, Mr. Karate, I'll come by the office and help you fill out the paperwork. Whatever it is, I am, you know, I think we at least deserve an explanation as to what the hardship is, the reason why we're not doing it. I appreciate that. Thank you.
We'll follow up with you, Matt.
I don't see any other hands up at this time. Oh, Sarah Molnecki.
Hi, Sarah Melnicky, 102 Claremont. I didn't say that before. Just to follow up with Emily's question, I don't understand how, I know special schedules have changed, but my children, there were times where there was no sub, and instead of allowing the teacher to just Zoom from home, Google Meet from home, whatever you'd like it, there was instead, here's YouTube video for this special. Or why can't, I'm not trying to extend the teacher's workday, but if they're under contract till 3 o'clock, why can't there be, if there's resource, I understand you don't have subs, so if like resource or BSI or something is somebody's absent, why can't there be like remedial one-on-one sessions after lunch at 2 o'clock or whatever time their lunch is? Why is it an all or nothing? Why can't there be exceptions made, like someone can teach from home if it's not going to affect the school? Specials are virtual, so if I'm teaching and this is my background or it's my classroom, like I don't understand what the big deal is. Instead of my kid getting a YouTube video for Spanish or music or art.
We spent a lot of time crafting elementary schedules. There is not a teacher who is unspoken for more than 25 minutes on any given day. What you are experiencing is based on your child's schedule. There are 7 grades in the elementary school, and those specials teachers teach all 7 grades. And the Spanish teacher teaches all the grades in 3 buildings. So it's easy to say, well, why can't we just do this in the afternoon? People are spoken for. I mean, the scheduling is incredibly complex. And to make, to just assume that somebody is just available at that time is not the case. Teachers go from, 8:15 in the morning till after 1 o'clock at the elementary school without so much as a bathroom break. So their afternoons are spoken for. There's also team time. There's IEP meetings. There's INRS meetings. There's lots of things that teachers do that maybe, not everybody sees.
Okay, I was making assumptions, but you didn't answer my other question. I don't understand how up until January, when we came back, where if a special teacher was absent, with the exception of phys ed was the only in-person special, why couldn't the teacher just work from home instead of having to here's a YouTube of a Spanish song, here's a media project on Google Meet, why, go learn it on your own. Why couldn't the teacher just work from home those 3 days? Because there was no sub needed.
Mrs. Milnick, I just can't explain things to you, especially in public. I can't always explain things to you. From your perspective, you see it one way. There are a lot of things that we deal with on our side. So I'm sorry, I can't give you an answer to that.
Okay.
All right.
Anybody else wishing to speak to the board? Elaine De Palma?
Elaine De Palma, Smith School Para. I'm willing to help out with all the paperwork too, like with Mr. Matthew Martinez as well. And I just want to say that I am very happy to be at work, going back to school. We're all happy to be there. Can't wait to get that vaccine. Hopefully I'll feel safer coming back. Everything's working out really good so far, but would feel a lot safer knowing that I can get my sick days back if I have to stay home. So thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Last call. All right, I'm not seeing anybody else.
Nope.
Can we have a motion to close the meeting to the public?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Okay. Let's see, do we have any other board member requests for more information or anything like that?
To the chair. Sorry, I kicked the coin off. I have a question. Well, first of all, Mr. Martinez, I don't know if he's still here or not, but thank you for, oh, there you are. Thank you for acknowledging the board. Appreciate that. On a personal, from me, thank you for what you do for your association. You're a phenomenal representative of your association. That's for me as a parent, former NJEA guy. And for the super, are we going to discuss any of this stuff at all, or
We did on Monday.
as far as extending it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
Through the chair.
Yes.
I just have a question. I was put on vouchers this year, which I have no problem with, but how are we doing vouchers?
You're coming to visit.
It will range.
Well, I mean, is there a specific time? Because from what I understand, you need an appointment or you won't get through the door. And if I can come 15, 20 minutes, a half hour on any I don't know how this works. This is what I'm asking.
Yeah, we work it out with the board members. We'll get you an area, we'll get you a time. We'll work it out.
Okay.
We'll be in touch.
Not sure I want to, right?
So if, Mike, if the board wants to, revisit the topic, we can revisit.
Yeah, I mean, me personally.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Our next meetings are February 8th and February 10th, okay, of next month. And I wish you all a good rest of the month and stay healthy and well, everybody. I think it is, I think we are done. Yes?
Mhm.
Okay, can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting, please?
Motion. Second.
All in favor? All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Stay healthy and well, and we'll see you next month.
Thank you.
Good
Have a
job,
great-
Cal.
Thanks, you too, Michelle.